Hello and welcome to Video DNA, where the English is bad and the tutorials are good. I'm Editable, and today I'm gonna show you and walk you through the counter preset, and so you can create in no time numbers animation for ascending or descending numbers. And of course I'm gonna walk you through all of the examples and the project files that you get along with the presets. So let's start to talk about it. After you install it, which is pretty easy, you just open the preset folder and copy the Video DNA folder. You will have two presets of the counters. I have a little bit more, but let's search for counter. And I can see that they have two presets. So let's create a new composition and create, let's call this counter. And I want to create a counter animation, so I'm just gonna double click without selecting any layer. If I had any layers over here, I wouldn't select them. And now I have the counter, and I actually have two counters. I have the mega counter and the regular counter. So the regular counter, which is over here, is based on slider, and the limit of the sliders is 1 million. That's it. You cannot go up. Mega counter is for numbers that are higher from 1 million because it's based not on a slider but on a point, which when you change the y-axis of the point, you actually get the number. So they're basically the same preset, but mega counter is for higher numbers, but you can also create regular numbers if you wish. So let's walk you through the options. So the first one is the number, and here you can animate the number. Let's make an animation from 0 to 1200. Amazing! That was so easy. Here are the keyframes, here's the animation, and this is how it looks. This is the default. And if you want to change the font, because it's font based, you can change it to whatever you like. Just remember that monospaced types like Courier or Courier New work best because all of their digits have the same width, so there will be no jumping while you animate. And if you want this, actually I would prefer to go to the paragraph and align it to the right, and now it doesn't move. This animation looks pretty good, and of course you can do negative numbers. Amazing. Okay, so now we change the animation from this to this. This is the number, this is the basic part. Let's talk about the decimal digits. Here I can decide how many numbers after the decimal point I would see, and I can create as much as I want. So this is the animation right now, but I will leave this on 2. If I have numbers that are greater than 1000, I will have this divider, and the dividers will be checked on, but you can check it off. But the most cool thing about those dividers is that you can change them, and you can change them by changing the name of the preset. Now it's just a comma, but if I will write a dot or this thing or this thing, I can do any divider that I want, which is pretty cool. And I actually can enter a smiley. That's amazing. Okay, this is the really best part of this preset because anyone can take a slider and connect it to the source text, but this one really makes a change because you can actually control the dividers, and it works the same, exactly the same with the mega counter. So if I put a mega counter and maybe take a really big number, bigger than this, maybe like, okay, 20 billion, okay, with decimal points. and I'm gonna go, I have those dividers, which is cool, and I can change this to whatever I want because every country has its format, and it's really important that you can create your format or the format of the country that you're making project on. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's continue with the decimal comma. The decimal comma actually makes the decimal point to a comma. That's it. That's what it does. Pretty cool, eh? Write symbol. Okay, you can write symbols. Let's say let's delete this. Let's say we have $1 million. So I'm gonna write a dollar, and I can see it's on the right, and I can check it on and off. I can also make it to appear on the left, and if I want to space it, I will just enter another space. Okay, and if I want them both, I can have them both. Okay, and so what if I have a negative number? So a negative number will actually create a problem if I want to make my symbol after the minus. So I'm gonna just check after minus on, and I can see that the left symbol jumped to the right location. And about the multiplier actually multiplies the number, which is pretty cool because you can do two really cool things with it. First of all, I'm gonna create a counter animation, and I'm just gonna make this from 1000. No, I'm just gonna write a number like this, and I'm gonna take the multiplier and I'm gonna animate the number after 2 seconds to be my number. I'm gonna change the multiplier again, so it's gonna be multiplied by 0, and then it's gonna be multiplied by 1. So actually here it's gonna be the number that I've written. Now if I'm gonna duplicate this layer, I can change only one value, and I already have the animation, so I don't need to worry about the locations of the keyframes. I just duplicate and change the value of the number, and that's all I need to do. So let's write something like this, and maybe change the decimals. Yeah, pretty cool. So this is what I get just by using the multiplier, and the multiplier is pretty cool if you don't want to take the mega counter and you want to make 2 million or 10 millions. So I'm gonna write 1 million over here, and I'm gonna delete the animation, and I'm gonna multiply it by 10. So now I have 10 millions, and so on and so forth. So I don't necessarily need to use the mega counter. I can multiply if I don't care to do it from here. There is something that you need to understand while you use the mega counter, because mega counter uses the position based on the size of the composition. If I'm gonna change the comp size during my work, let's say from this size to full HD, the number will change. Look, before it was 7,000 and something, and now it's 11,000. And that's because the number of pixels in the composition change, which changes the relative point. So what can I do to solve this is actually pretty simple. So I'm just gonna go to the multiplier, and I'm gonna write the old width by pixels divided by the new width, and I'm gonna get the same number again, because this is actually changing the proportion. I'm gonna create now a proportion which multiplies the number, and this solved this issue, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah, so you have those two presets, counter and mega counter, one for regular numbers until 1 million and another one until to infinite numbers. And I am needless to say that you can go to the character and change to which font that you want to use, which is pretty amazing. Well, this is about the preset, so enjoy it. Let's go over the files. So first of all, we have this cool 3D count. It's based on the ray traced engine. I have a color correction here, I have a BG layer, and I have a counter. And if I enter, I can see that I have just a 3D layer with some text animations, which is pretty cool, and with this number animation on it. That's it. I have this check please composition, which actually uses the multiplier as the animation, and you can see the price table right over here, and you can see the same technique we saw before, just animating the multiplier. So it's gonna be really easy to make. We have the country formats, which makes all the formats of all the countries. And if I'm gonna enter the number standards, I can see a standard without dividers, I can see divided, I can see SI style, which I don't know what it is, but it was written on Wikipedia, so I did it with just a divider, is just the space. And I have the French. Here you have the decimal comma. In Italy you have a dot instead as a divider, and a comma as the decimal point. In Switzerland, I think it's only in handwritten, but you have this symbol. I think it's for handwrite, but if you need to make an animation of handwrite, that's gonna be pretty cool. And of course, in nowhere you have smileys that are dividers, which is pretty cool. So this is the number standards. We have the Gymboree, which is pretty cool because the animation is pretty straightforward, everything as you just saw. But when you take the ball action, you add the ball action effect, you can actually create a Gymboree kind of effect, which is pretty easy because you just put the ball action on an adjustment layer and you just change the ball size to 50 and you got a Gymboree. That's nice. That's pretty cool. You have the speedometer, and if you're familiar with expressions, here I took one of the layers, I think this one, the dial, yeah, the second dial, and I went to the rotation and I linked it with expressions to the numbers. So if you go to the dash number and to the number, I have an expression over here. You can see right over here on the number. If you're not familiar with expressions, don't be alarmed. You don't need to do this. It's pretty easy. It's gonna save you some time, which is pretty important to learn, because now I can just rotate one layer and the other one just reacts. I don't need to animate them both, and if I need to change the animation, it really saves a lot of time, which is pretty cool. And this is the expression, a linear expression. If you're not familiar with that, search for it on Google. It's pretty amazing. And YouTube, well, that's priceless. This is the project file that you're gonna get. I hope you will enjoy this preset, and it's gonna save you a lot of time. It took a lot of time to write it, and in the 2 months that I'm working with this preset, it saved me a lot of hours in animation and numbers. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and feel free to write in the comments what you think, and enjoy, and I'll see you next time.